If you have ever felt buried underneath debt but didn't want to completely stop living your life to pay it off, this video is for you. My husband and I paid off $75,000 worth of debt, and no, we didn't do it perfectly. We didn't cut up all of our credit cards. We still ate out every once in a while, and we actually did go on 2 vacations. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Alyssa. Today I'm finally sharing how we paid off $75,000 worth of debt, what actually worked for us, the rules we followed loosely, because I want this to be realistic and not overwhelming. First, let's talk numbers. How does a person get $75,000 worth of debt? Well, for us, it was a slow progression, and it kind of just snuck up on us, and we woke up one day and we were like, wait a minute. So that consisted of some student loan debt. We had an issue with my car that just kept breaking down, and we thought that it would be better to keep fixing it, but it ended up being as much as we paid for the car, so that was over $10,000 worth of debt. At some point I was a stay-at-home mom, so we were putting our groceries and other daily essentials on a credit card, but we weren't actually budgeting. We weren't calculating how much money we needed. We were just kind of like spending with what we thought we needed for that time, and so the groceries and the everyday essentials started to rack up until we woke up and were in $75,000 worth of debt. So honestly, it wasn't intentional in the beginning with us deciding to pay it off. We didn't wake up and we were like, we're sick of this, we're tired, we're going to pay it off. What happened is that we had a out-of-state property, and we had to move from where we currently were living in a different state, and so we now had to pay a mortgage and we had to pay rent. And we already know in this economy everything is very expensive. So in order for us to not lose our property, I got a second job. Shortly after me getting the second job, we actually were able to find tenants for our out-of-state property. So now we had extra income coming in because our renters were paying the mortgage. So I had extra money from that second job I was working. Then we decided to do the Dave Ramsey program with our church. And in that program, it is very intense, and it talks about paying your debt off with the snowball effect. So the first decision that we actively made, our step one, was deciding to live off of one salary. We decided that all of our bills, essentials, and any other money that we spent was going to just be from my husband's salary, and then both of the income from my jobs would pay off the debt. Deciding to live off one income is a big mindset shift. I'm not going to lie and act like it's easy in this economy, and honestly, for some people, that may not even be possible. But we did start to ask ourselves this question. We stopped asking ourselves, can we afford this? And we shifted to the mindset of, can this fit into one income? And that boundary changed everything. Step 2, getting a second job. Why I recommend getting a second job: flexible income, high cash flow, and immediate results. I chose serving because serving, there's really no cap to how much you make. Obviously, it does depend on where you work, and if you do have serving experience, that can help you get a better service job. But for me, I had a little bit of experience because being a stay-at-home mom, I wasn't a person that likes to sit still. I like to stay busy. I like to keep active. So I got initially a busing job at a really nice restaurant, worked really hard, and got promoted to becoming a server. So I had that on my resume already. So when I went and got the job at Topgolf, I was able to go straight into serving. And I was able to make a lot of money as a server. Some nights were slow and weren't the best, but there were other nights where I was walking out with $500 at one time. With Topgolf, it was in a paycheck, which some serving jobs you can walk out with cash that night, and then others you get it in a paycheck. I didn't necessarily mind the paycheck because then I paid my taxes up front, so I never had to worry about the money that I was receiving in that paycheck. I can literally just put it directly into the debt. Step 3, we did follow the Dave Ramsey program-ish. So we went through the program with our church. It was a class every single Sunday, and we even got the certificate for it. So if you're not familiar with the Dave Ramsey program, it is a 7-step program, and honestly, it's a phenomenal program. And I will encourage you straight off the bat, if you can follow it to a T, please do so. But for some people, it's not always realistic, and if you watch some of the videos and lessons, his margin for what things cost are definitely outdated. There's some videos where he'll say that mortgages are $900 a month, or rent, and honestly it's 2 to 3 times that in this economy. So the things that I did follow is, so we did pay off our debt smallest to largest. We did not focus on, the interest rates and everything else. We did do the debt snowball. We did do the emergency fund, which was saving $1,000 a month, and then any extra money we had in savings, we went ahead and dumped all of that into the debt. I wasn't too much worried about that because I had the 2 jobs, so we had income even if an emergency popped up. We had that excess income from both of my jobs, so we were fine draining our main savings account. It was so rewarding paying those cards off one by one, and so we allowed those small wins to keep us motivated. Here's the things that we didn't follow to the T. Number 1, we didn't cut up our credit cards. I have an unhealthy attachment to them. I felt like I was too scared to cut them up, but if you can cut them up, I would recommend following his plan to a T. 2, we did eat out a little bit, and 3, we did have some vacations that we planned. They weren't extravagant and they weren't ridiculous, so we did go to Florida, and we also went to Dollywood. We had a membership. We kind of justified it. It wasn't outrageous. I wouldn't even recommend going on vacation if you're trying to pay off your debt, but we did. But I would recommend following the Dave Ramsey program to a T as much as you can. I felt that with both of the jobs that I was working, I didn't want to feel completely unrealistic and burdened with feeling uncomfortable and not being able to enjoy life at all. And with the mass amount of that extra income, we felt that it was okay to go on vacation and to eat out every once in a while. Step number 4, a budget. The budget is one of the key factors, I think, for being able to successfully pay off debt. You have to budget every single month. So I recommend budgeting either the few days before, like if you have a weekend and the first starts on like a Monday, I would definitely budget before. But if it's in the middle of the week, it could be a little bit harder. So I just recommend trying to budget the weekend before that month starts. So our budget, unlike the Dave Ramsey's program, it did factor in eating out a little bit, and it did factor in some fun money, so we did feel like we were still having a realistic lifestyle. We planned these expenses instead of it feeling like guilt spending, so that did give us a lot more room to breathe. Because pretending that you don't ever want to eat out or have a cup of coffee is what makes your budget break. So just to make sure we're all on the same page, step number 1 is to focus on living on one income. Step number 2 is to get a second job. Step number 3 is to follow the Dave Ramsey program as much as you can. And step number 4 is a budget. Step number 5, consistency over extremes. This wasn't about being perfect for 3 months. This was about being consistent over a long course of time. Some months we crushed it, and then some months weren't so great, and I slipped up on my shopaholic ways, as you can see in the back. But at the end of the day, we kept showing up and we kept pushing forward. And slowly but surely, the balances started to pay off. And honestly, once you start to pay off cards and you see the balance is empty, it becomes somewhat addicting, and your motivation definitely starts to uptick. And before we knew it, the $75,000 was gone. If you're on a debt-free journey, the biggest things I want you to take away from this video is you don't need perfection. You need a plan that fits your life. Extra income always speeds everything up. Progress beats extremes every single time. And debt freedom is absolutely always possible, even if you don't follow it all the way by the book. If you want motivation on how you can try to find quick ways to pay off debt, I do have a video about keeping your New Year's resolutions following the 12-week year, so I will link that video up at the top. So I definitely recommend you trying that, because you can use this program to help you figure out how to pay off debt if that is a goal of yours. If you are interested in family content and how to be a better spouse and parent and just get your life together and become the best version of yourself, go ahead and subscribe. If there's any questions you have or videos you want me to make further about this topic, go ahead and comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.